Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode. Super excited that for those who are here, who are super excited for those that are going to be showing up, and just ready to have another good week. Right? We're talking about the power of mindset and rewiring your thinking for healing. Because as first responders, we go through tough times. We go through tough times almost every shift, and we need to be able to be prepared for those the building points that come into our lives. So we want to rewire our minds because our minds is what's going to shift us into that new place. It's going to shift us into becoming that person that we're looking at becoming despite the things that we've been through in our past. So that's why we're doing this series. And today we're diving into visualization and mental rehearsal for post-traumatic stress. Mental rehearsal, visualization, these are such high key points for you and me and everybody around to really create that life that you want. Oftentimes within our past, we remember the negative things. We remember the negative things that are keeping us broken, and we need to begin to see things in our lives and visualize things and practice things over and over again to really begin to create that pathway that you want to go down. Now, unless you do this, unless you see something, you can't create it, right? You have to create something within your mind, attach emotion to it, and then begin to do the actions. But if you don't see it positively going that direction, you're not going to take the actions, you're not going to feel the feelings. So that's why visualization and mental rehearsal is so important. What is trauma? So trauma alters the way we think, right? When we go through a situation in our lives, it begins to rewrite the brain for hypervigilance, fear, and avoidance. As first responders, we go into situations, and then the next, maybe even later on in that shift or the next day, you're like going to a similar situation, and our mind has rewritten that neuron, and it's going, okay, the last time I did this, I failed. Or the last time I went into, let's say, as a police officer goes into a house, and the last time he went into a similar house, people were shooting at him. So he's more hyper vigilant, he's more fearful, and he's like, he's scared or she's scared to go into this house, even though it might not be anything to do with a similar scenario. So that's why you want to begin to train your mind. You want to begin to visualize going, okay, I'm going into this next house, I'm going into this next scenario, and this is how it's going to play out. But if it doesn't, I need to alter some scenarios in my mind. So you begin to visualize different things that create that outcome that you're going for. Because here's the good news, right? You can rewire your mindset, rewires it one way, and you begin to rewrite it back into another way. And that's the way the mind works. We're always rewiring our mind into different synapses and different paths that we want to go down. And doing this, it's going to create that outcome, create that life that we want to shift into. Because our mindset plays a crucial role in healing. The way we think directly impacts our emotions, our behaviors, and even our physical health. Now, I always say that belief is the first step in healing. Because if you don't believe that you're going to be able to heal, if you don't believe you're going to be able to do certain things and get this outcome, get past post traumatic stress, you're not going to do the actions necessary. Now, there's been numerous stories out there of people, let's say with cancer or with some kind of a disorder or even depression, that begin to rewire their minds by thinking in a different direction. And doing this, it begins to rewire their mind. And then this comes into their emotions, and then it comes into their physical health, and their disease or their disorder begin to go away. So you have to begin to work through these by seeing yourself on the other side of the pain you're in, or on the other side of the trauma that you're going through, or on the other side of whatever it is in your life. When you begin to visualize yourself on the other side of it, and you visualize yourself going, okay, how do I want my life to look on the other side? What do I do? What's it look like? What do I do when I wake up in the morning? How do I feel? And you begin to rehearse this. That's when you begin to create that life, and you do this over and over again, because there's two powerful tools that help with this process. Okay, There's visualization, which we're talking about in mental rehearsal. Now, these techniques that I want to show you today are used by elite athletes and military personnel and first responders. And what it does is improves performance, builds confidence, and creates new mental patterns. And today, I'm going to explore how it's going to help trauma. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen videos about this, but I've seen numerous videos on hockey players, NHL players, or probably even WHL players, and they'll sit there in the stands and they'll be watching the ice, and they'll be going back and forth, and they'll be moving their head and just following the puck. And what they're doing is they're doing a mental rehearsal. Okay, when I'm on the ice, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to jump over the boards. It's going to feel like this. I'm going to skate down the side. I'm going to do this. When I get the puck, I'm going to pass it here. I'm going to look here. And they're mentally preparing their mindset prior to it actually taking place. And doing this, I believe personally, it gives people confidence when they're on the ice. It gives people confidence to do the things that they've already planned on doing. Because your mindset goes, oh, I've already been here. But were they? No. But they're mentally prepared. So as a first responder, if you can mental rehearsal and you can sit in your car, or as a firefighter, as you're rolling towards the fire, as a correctional officer coming on for your shift, going, okay, if this happens, I'm going to respond like this, or maybe I'll do it like this. Whatever it is, if you can take 1 minute and mental rehearse what you're going through, it's going to give you a leg up. It's going to give you a better understanding and help you to create that outcome that you're looking for. Now, I try to do this on a day-to-day basis. I do scenario-based thinking. So what I do is I'll sit there and just during my shift and I'll go, okay, if I hit this point or if I get to this place, I'm going to do this. Or if this person, as you know, I'm a correctional officer, if this inmate does this towards me, I'm going to respond like this. So I mentally rehearse the situation that could happen, and this begins to give me confidence and begins to create a better outcome on how I'm going to handle situations. Now, there's a science behind mindset in healing. So the brain's not static. It doesn't stay the same. It's always changing thanks to neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity is creating new neurons in your mind, and it's expanding your mind bigger and smaller. And doing this begins to create those new neural pathways. So when you do something new in your life, it begins to create these new pathways, and these new pathways begin to turn into habits. Habits begin to turn into personalities, and then doing things on a day-to-day basis, this is going to become who you are. Neuroplasticity means that every thought, emotion, and experience physically changes the brain. It physically changes how it's going, different neurons, different pathways, and then you begin to do it. And like I said, when you're creating mental rehearsal, or you're visualizing where you want to go in your path, in your direction, this is going to create those pathways before you've actually been there, right? When someone experiences trauma, our brain gets stuck, right? We get stuck in this survival mode, going, you know, I need to just get to the next place. I need to just respond to protect myself, instead of actually creating a new pathway that's going to go, okay, I need to find a better outcome for the situation so it doesn't break me. Visualization and mental rehearsal activate the same neural pathways as real experiences. So like I said, as a hockey player sitting there and he's visualizing what he's doing, it's already creating those neural pathways in your mind to be better equipped for that situation. So as first responders and people who aren't first responders, you're going to create these new neurons in your mind, because your mind doesn't actually know. So if you close your eyes and visualize something, your mind doesn't know if it's true or if it's fake, right? Which is why, like, when you have a dream at night, and I know I've had it, and I'm sure other people have that dream that we're falling, right? And when you have that dream, your body wakes up and you're like, oh my, I just felt like I was falling, because your mind doesn't know. It's like, well, no, I'm actually laying in a bed right now. I'm fine. But your mind can't decipher the difference between you falling and you laying in your bed, which is why when you can create visualization and do these mental rehearsals, your mind doesn't know. It's like, well, no, I'm just sitting on my couch with my eyes closed, visualizing how I want this to go. Your mind goes, okay, this is actually happening to me. And doing this is going to help the brain relearn calmness, confidence, and control. Because as we've been diagnosed or we have trauma from our past and we're trying to move into a thriving lifestyle, you begin to relearn these and go, okay, no, I'm actually calm right now. I can have a better lifestyle. I can move into that next phase because this is what I'm creating. This is what I'm visualizing. This is what I'm rehearsing in my mind. And it begins to create these new these new pathways, and it's going to give you that life that you're looking for. So again, here's an example. So there's a study that showed that visualizing playing the piano and just sitting there and using your fingers and however it goes can actually improve your finger dexterity just as much as actually sitting there and playing a piano, right? The brain treats it as both real and fake. So if you're going through a scenario, so if we can use visualization to learn the piano, imagine what we can do to train our brain for resilience and healing. So if you're going through a tough time, my friends, you can begin to train your mind for calmness and meditation and how to respond. But you have to begin to do this. You can't just hope for the best. So what is visualization? Right? Visualization is a practice of creating a detailed mental images of positive experiences, goals, or calming scenarios to train the mind. So it's not daydreaming, right? We're not sitting there going, "Oh, I wish I was sitting there on the beach and, feel better." That's not what visualization is all about. It's a mental rehearsal, right? You're beginning to create that outcome that you're looking for, right? You're intentional, right? You're intentionally practicing. Okay, let's say for a scenario, as a police officer, you pull up to a house, you pause and go, okay, I need to respond. I need to deal with this, whatever situation is going on inside. And you close your eyes, or don't close your eyes, just visually see yourself going to the door, knocking on the door, speaking with the man or female inside, dealing with the situation, and then being able to leave at the end of the thing. There's nothing that happens, and you visualize, prepare this. And then maybe you sit there and go, okay, I'm going to come to the door and maybe the person will pull a weapon on me. How am I going to respond to this? And you mentally prepare how that's going to happen. And then when you do this, you're ready for either scenario because you've mentally prepared and it's created those neurons in your mind. So now there's two types of visualization. There's guided imaginary, which is, listening to a recorded script or verbal cues to create that mental scene. There's lots of this on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and find just a guided visualization or guided meditation, and it'll take you through all these different things. Or they're self-directed, right? You consciously just create your own image, focus on specific emotions and sensations. You sit there in your chair and you go, okay, I'm going to imagine what I want to do, imagine how the situation's going to go. So for example, a first responder struggling with anxiety before a shift is going to visualize themselves confidently handling a tough call. So they sit in there and just thinking about, okay, what's the call I'm going to be on? How's it going to feel? How I'm going to respond? And when you begin to do this, that's when your mind creates those neurons, and then you begin to create that outcome that you're looking for. So what's mental rehearsal? What's the difference? So mental rehearsal is the technique used to practice skills, responses, and emotions in your mind before experiencing them. So I'm just going to pop back here. So visualization is a practice of creating detailed mental images of positive experiences, goals, or calming the scenarios. So you create these images, and then when you do mental rehearsal, that's more of what I'm talking about when you create the door and getting up to the situation, because you practice your skills, how you're going to respond, or the emotions in your mind before the experiences. You create those neurons. That's what the hockey players do. They're doing a mental rehearsal. So it's like pre-playing an event in your head so that when the real moment comes, your brain actually knows how to respond. And that's what it all comes down to, my friend. We want to rewire our mind. We want to be ready so that when the scenario comes or the situation comes, your brain already knows how to respond. So this is why. So athletes visualize winning before they compete, right? Military personnel mentally rehearse dangerous situations. And as first responders, we prepare for a crisis through mental walkthroughs. That's why during scenarios or during training, prior to getting to a situation or prior to anything, you're training so that you're mentally creating those neurons in your mind over and over and over again, so that when the situation happens, bang, you respond, you know how to do it because your mind's been rehearsing this. right? Here's another example. A paramedic mentally rehearses a high-stress emergency, imagining themselves remaining calm, assessing the situation, and taking action, right? You're going, okay, I pulled up to this scene. It's a car accident. I'm going to deal with it this way. This is how I'm going to deal with the patient. This is how I'm going to deal with the other patient. And this is how I'm going to respond. This is what I'll say over the radio. And this is how mental rehearsal creates those neurons and it helps you get through the day. So benefits of visualization and mental rehearsals for post-traumatic stress disorder recovery. There's a lot of benefits to these. There's more. I only listed 4. So each technique is going to help in multiple ways, which include reducing stress of anxiety. It's going to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode, right? Doing these are going to rewire automatic responses. So over time, the brain will learn that not every situation is a threat. Because as we've been diagnosed with PTSD, we go into this hypervigilant state. We go into this alertness, which is what post-traumatic stress disorder is. It's caused a confusion state in your mind, and it creates this alertness. So you're hypervigilant, you're ready, you're in survival mode. So it rewires those automatic responses. It gives you more confidence. When you do visualization or mental rehearsal, it's going to give you confidence seeing yourself in that situation, seeing yourself succeed, becoming the person that you want to be, and you believe in more, right? If you see yourself succeeding in a situation, that's going to build your confidence to succeed in the situation. So that's why mental rehearsal is so important. And it processing trauma in a safe way, right? You can work through distressing experiences without feeling overwhelmed, right? This is called visualization and mental health practice. And you can sit there and visualize yourself, okay, I'm in a situation right now. You know, if it causes anxiety, you're doing it in a safe place, in a safe way, right? And then when you begin to do this over and over and over again, it's going to create those new neurons in your mind, and it's going to create and allow you to be confident going into that scene. So this is huge for people suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder because it processes and trauma in a safe way. You don't want to be hypervigilant and then go into a call and be hypervigilant there, right? If you can use mental rehearsal or visualization to be ready and assist you in a safe place, maybe in a therapist office, maybe with a counselor, maybe in your own home, maybe surrounded by peers, whatever it is for you. But you can practice these, and it's going to build your confidence so that you know it's like, yeah, when I go into this situation, I'm not going to be hypervigilant. I'm not going to be, over the top responsive because I've prepared for it, right? It's about training your brain for success. Healing and resilience is just like training your body in the gym, right? To become more resilient, you need to practice resiliency, right? How do you become resilient? How do you practice resiliency? How do you build confidence? You go into stressful times. You go into situations that are going to cause fear. Do you actually have to go into the situation? No. You can do this through mental rehearsal. You can practice going into a tough time, right? Maybe someone who's fearful of climbing ladders, they're afraid of heights. You can sit there, close your eyes, and imagine yourself climbing a ladder. And if it gives you fear, you stop at that rung that you're on and just wait there and go, okay, I'm safe. I'm in a safe place. And then maybe a couple more steps. And over time, you're going to create those new neurons that are going to say, okay, I can do this. I can build this. And because, like I said, your mind doesn't know the difference between something that's real and something that you're visualizing. So training is huge in this aspect. So the power of guided imaginary in trauma recovery. So guided imaginary is a specific visualization technique which are often used by trauma therapy, right? What it does is it works by creating a sense of safety in the brain and help you to regulate those emotional responses. So here's an example. We'll do this real quick. So close your eyes and imagine the most peaceful, calming place you've ever been. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? How does your body feel in this moment? Take your time. Really feel this. Really imagine that peaceful, calming place. be there. Do you feel your heartbeat lowering? Do you feel yourself more calm, more ready? This is what that's all about. It's all about feeling calmness. It's all about feeling peace. Okay, open your eyes. We're going to get on with this. So what you want to do is you want to regularly practice that in a safe place. Visualization teaches your nervous system how to calm itself. Now, certain things you can do, I'm not sure if I have a slide on this, but what you can do is you can breathe in, hold for 4, release for 4. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4. This is a quick technique that's also going to calm your heart rate and help you to practice. So here's the practical steps for implementing visualization. So first, I want you to find a quiet place, avoid distractions. And this only needs to be maybe 5 to 10 minutes, right? So breathe deeply. Slowing your breath signals the brain that you are in a safe place. Now create that vivid mental picture, right? What's it feel like? What's it smell like? What's it look like, right? Then focus on all the positive emotions. Feel the calmness, the strength, the confidence in your body. And do this for about 5 to 10 minutes. Bring yourself back. If you feel yourself wandering, that's fine. Bring yourself back to the calmness. Because oftentimes our mind will go off and it'll be like, oh yeah, I got this to do today, or I wonder how that happened, or I'm thinking about the negative scenario. But bring yourself back to the calmness. Bring yourself back and say, okay, no, I'm visualizing right now. I'm going to see this place. I'm going to do this. So practical steps to implement mental rehearsal. So choose a situation that you want to improve, right? So the first one, this is that implementing visualization. Now we're going to look at mental rehearsal. So choose a situation you want to improve, right? What is it? Was there a situation that you went into that you're not happy about? Visualize yourself handling it with calmness and confidence. How did you see yourself? How did you get through that? And then rehearse different variations. What if something unexpected would happen? What if it did? How are you going to do this? And then practice it regularly, right? Like I said, you come up to a call, take 30 seconds just to pause if you have the time to, before that event starts in the morning or before bed, and right? Do this before every shift. I do this on my way to work. I say, okay, what am I going to do when I hit this scenario, or if this scenario comes up, how am I going to handle it? And when it does, I'm confident because I've already rehearsed it in my mind. So there are barriers. There's definitely common barriers that we come into when we're going into these situations, right? I can't focus, right? So start with just 1 to 2 minutes a day, right? It's very simple. Close your eyes, visualize yourself in that situation and creating that. Second barrier is it feels fake, right? The brain still registers the experience. You still feel the couch. You still feel yourself sitting at home, right? It feels fake, okay? I have negative thoughts, right? Acknowledge them, right? When we have negative thoughts, it's okay to say, I'm having a negative thought right now. Get out of me, negative thought. I'm going to focus on the positives within your life, right? It's great to be able to do that. And, another barrier is I don't have time, right? We all have the same amount of time in the day, 24 hours, right? And it depends on what we do with our time is going to be the outcome that we get. So do it while you're laying in bed. Do it while you're taking a break. Make time, because this is so important. And this is what's going to help you shift from living with survival mode with PTSD into that thriving mode with PTSD. Right? So some key takeaways from today's video. Your mindset is your greatest tool for healing. Your mindset is your greatest tool for healing. Don't break off your mindset. Right? Visualization and mental rehearsals are backed by science. These are proven things to do. Visualization, mental rehearsal, it's proven. So do them. And consistency is key, right? If you do 2 minutes a day for the next 21 days, you're going to create the habit and you're going to be doing it. So small daily actions lead to lasting changes. So today, I challenge you, my friends, to try visualization daily just for 1 week. Try it for the next 7 days, starting today, and see how it makes you feel. Just visualize yourself overcoming that barrier, becoming that person that you're going after, and see how you feel, right? It may not work for you, and that's totally fine. Find something that does so that you can shift your life. So use it to prepare for tough days, process emotions, and strengthen resilience. And that's it. Thank you so much, first responders, for what you do. Thank you for those who are on the call. And thank you for those who are going to watch the recording. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'm honored to be able to be here for you in this time. Thank you.